2024 has been a year of firsts, from what could be a once-in-a-lifetime solar eclipse happening in April to a Canadian teenager shattering Olympic records. Through all of it, millions of Canadians have been turning to Google for answers to some of their big questions. So to break down what was trending this year, I'm joined by Hibaq Ali, a search trends expert with Google Canada. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start with some of the top trending searches in news and events. Let's look at some of the top 5. And I see a theme here, Hibaq. I'm seeing politics and I'm seeing sports.
Yeah, so when we look at our news and events category this year, we do see 3 key themes. So the first one, as you mentioned, sports. And this is something that we see year over year. So last year, it was the Women's World Cup that took our #1 spot. This year, it is the UEFA Euro Cup, as well as Copa America at #3. So, Canadians are quite taken by soccer. We have a lot of soccer fans in this country. The next one is the US election. So unsurprisingly, this was top of mind for many Canadians, especially as we got closer to election night. And then that third theme is provincial matters and some of the issues that were closer to home. So we saw the BC elections, we saw the Jasper fire and Hurricane Milton, and then a big one was the labor dispute. So, the LCBO and Air Canada strikes that happened earlier this year, and of course the ongoing Canada Post strike that Canadians are still searching for information and updates on.
Let's talk about who people want to learn more about. At the top of the list might surprise some people, but it's sort of a multi-factor when you break it all down as to why people were searching for this #1 person, and that is Kate Middleton.
Yeah, so, Canadians may have diverse opinions on the British royal family, but Kate Middleton really piqued our curiosity this year. She stepped away from the public eye late last year, and that led to a lot of online speculation with people just curious about her whereabouts. And then earlier in the spring, she also unfortunately announced her cancer diagnosis. So that really generated a lot of interest about her then. And then the next key theme here is the U.S. politicians that we're seeing, a lot of political heavyweights. So we saw names like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, J.D. Vance, Jill Stein, and a lot of those key players that were involved in the U.S. election this year.
Let's talk about the what, the why, and the how. There are a lot of questions that were put to Google. I also see a huge theme here. A lot of people had questions about the solar eclipse. So let's break down what you were seeing.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the solar eclipse was really the key topic of interest across our questions category this year. Those who were lucky enough to witness the celestial event will remember this well. It happened back on April 8th of this year. It was visible across much of Eastern Canada, so lots of Canadians were curious and interested in learning more. So we asked questions like, what is a solar eclipse? Why can't you look at a solar eclipse? And how long will the solar eclipse last? So lots of questions there just about viewing times and safety precautions. But apart from the solar eclipse, we did see a lot of questions on politics and geopolitical affairs. So Canadians have always kept a pulse on news beyond our borders. And this year, as I mentioned earlier, the US elections really piqued our interest. So Canadians asked questions like, what time is the presidential debate and how many electoral votes are there? So the US elections was a key theme for us. And then, of course, the ongoing issues in the Middle East. So Canadians keeping up with the conflicts happening over there.
Finally, for you, I want to end it on this incredible note, and that was a lot of Canadians celebrating Summer McIntosh and her wow performance at the Summer Olympics. She sat #2 for top trending athletes.
Yeah, Summer McIntosh, one of our top trending athletes this year. And we also saw a couple of other Canadians on this list. We saw Alicia Newman, we saw Andre DeGrasse. And then across other sports, we also saw one of the ones that I was Googling, Lamine Yamal. He is the youngest player on the Spanish national team who helped the team win the Euro Cup this year at just 16 years old. So a really fascinating category in our athletes this year.
Certainly a lot of answers, and they found a lot of questions, I should say, and a lot of answers from Google Canada. Hibaq Ali, appreciate you taking the time. Happy holidays to you.
Thanks, and you as well.